Hey, how are you? I wanted to welcome you to 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda, where I want to talk about why sometimes you can make a sale and then stop, or get some momentum and then stop. So we'll get going in just a few seconds. I just want to say good morning, good morning. Hi, Carla Deanna. Hi, you guys on Instagram. I'm able to stream live with you guys this morning, which is great. Hello, Alex Ariaga, Kim Cruz. Kim, I was thinking about you this morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm just writing myself a little note because I don't want to forget something. Okay, cool. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Awesome. It's a good morning. So I want to chat about this. So I am asked this question quite frequently, and my nanny actually asked me this question yesterday, who she actually works inside of the Heartcore company as well. And she said, how come you can, how come I make a sale or I start making good money, and then what happens is I get comfortable and I stop actually performing. I stop showing up. And it's really frustrating when this happens in your life, isn't it? Because you have these goals and you have these ambitions, and then you can't figure out, why can't I get myself to perform the way I need myself to perform? So let's dive into that. First, there's really just two things that I want to talk to you about. I was thinking through this about the best way to actually serve you on this topic. And there's a lot of places I can go, but there are a lot of fluff. Here's what the truth is that every time you have a big win, because it's easy, I'm just going to take into an exaggerated state. When you have a really big win, you typically get depressed. I know that sounds horrible, but like, for instance, a lot of people, like Olympic athletes, when Olympic athletes reach their goal of being in the Olympics, a lot of times they flounder afterwards, or they get depressed because they're like, well, now what? That was a really big dream, right? That was a really big goal. And I reached it, and now I'm down and out. And so taking it on that level of extreme, what you have to realize is that there's a rhythm to everything. And so when you have a goal to make more money, or build a new house, or get a new car, or get married, the journey doesn't stop there, right? Because what's going to happen is, when you reach your goal, you're going to see a rhythm, and ebb and flow, which means that I have this saying inside my head, and maybe it's good or it's not good, but this is just what I say to keep myself grounded inside my head. It's never as bad as you think, and it's never as good as you think. And that's because we build up all these stories around things. So the goal is how can you just get yourself consistent so that you're moving towards a goal consistently? And I'll talk about that in a second. But you have to first realize that when you make a sale in your business, if you're an entrepreneur, when you make a sale, you will find that as you're on the build, the ramp to bigger dreams, you're going to find that you're going to see this ebb and flow. And I don't want you to get frustrated with it, because if you get frustrated with yourself, you massively lose momentum, and you also lose confidence. So everything you say inside this head to yourself is a direct impact on how quickly you will grow. So let me repeat that for a second. Everything you say inside your head right here, whether it's in your marriage, and it says something like, oh, my partner drives me crazy, they never do this or they never do that, that means that you're going to grow in your marriage much slower, right? I teach business coaching. I can tell you the people, and by the way, I just had this conversation with somebody the other day, and they said, you know what, Shanda, I can always tell, we were talking about personal development, I can always tell the people in the room who are going to rock it quicker. And they always have a stronger mindset. They always have, like, when they ask questions, they don't ask questions and beat themselves up, like ask a question on the right side of their mouth and beat themselves up on the left side. Right? So don't apologize for asking questions. Don't apologize for the ebb and flow in your life, and expect it. So that's rule number one. Rule number one is that it's pretty normal. It's actually a universal law. It's a principle that it's just like the tide out there outside my window right now. It's going to go in and out, in and out. So I used to say to my clients all the time, and I haven't said this in a long time, but I used to say, when they would be like, woohoo, I'm on fire, I'm like, ride that wave hard. Ride that wave hard, because when the wave pulls back, it's a state of rest. And entrepreneurs don't typically like that. They want to keep pushing. So what if you stop pushing and you just rode the wave, right? What if you stopped pushing and you just rode the wave? What if you realized that a billionaire and you are exactly the same person? Like, just hear me for a second. What if you realized somebody who's a billionaire and you were exactly the same person? That they have some things in their life that ebb and flow, that they have weeks that they're rocking it and they have weeks that things are just not working out. But what you say up here in between your ears is really, really critical. So I want you to start practicing just logical self-talk, right? Logical self-talk, meaning that you know that when you have any sort of a jump or a rise, there's going to be the wave's going to pull you back up, and then you go again. The quicker that happens has everything to do with your level of self-talk inside your head. So here's the second thing you need to think about. Is that, are you urgent enough in your vision or your goal? Okay, so I'm going to talk about how to get urgent enough. So, there's a lot of things that could play a factor in this. Before the real estate market crashed years ago, I remember my stepdad saying to me, Shanda, I'm much older than you. I've seen the marketplace. I didn't even know about these 7-year market corrections. Like I didn't know anything because I was such a promoter. I was such an optimist that all I kept, like whenever anybody said something like the market's going to have a correction, I would say things like, blah, 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 blah. That person's so negative. Like they're so negative and they're crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. And I used to do that all the time. And of course, there's a power to being very positive, but there's also a power to being aware, right? So right now, and you can Google this, and I actually recommend you do. I asked John Assaraf the other day, I had him on recently, and he was on the movie The Secret, which talks about law of attraction, which he's also talks about visualization and positive thinking and all those things. I asked him the other day, I sent him a text message, and I said, do you listen to the news? And he said to me, yes. And I was shocked. I was totally shocked because all my spiritual teachers have taught me don't listen to the news because it's so negative. I've also seen clients watch the news, and I remember a very specific client watching the news and literally going into complete paralysis because she was so panicked. Okay, so does that exist? Yes. However, he watches the news to stay aware. And I thought to myself, well, I do that too. I don't watch the news, but I get on Twitter. I Google things. I look up the headlines to see what's going on. And then what John does is he actually compares news sources, and he actually finds some of it comical because there's a show that goes on. It's like a drama movie that we get addicted to, but there's also the facts in between things. So this is why I know that the entire middle class is going to be wiped out. So if you're a middle class income earner, you should look up right now. You should look up right now, because if you want to really build your life faster or build it more consistently, take out the word faster for a second. You will build faster if you manage your mind, right? You will. Okay, if you don't allow your mind or even your feelings, like I slept until midnight. We had a situation happen with our group of friends that needed my attention last night, and so I was up at midnight, and quite frankly, I was worried about this person. And now your heads are all off there. Sorry, but then I was up until 2:30 in the morning. And then I went back to sleep, and I let my alarm go off at 5 this morning, and literally I got ready in about 15 minutes. And so I share all of that with you because what I felt like doing is canceling this 6 a.m. coffee with Shanda. And honestly, I could have, right? You don't pay me. I don't have to be here. There's no network. This is just my complete give every morning. I felt like canceling it. My eyes are tired. Quite frankly, I'm actually going to go back to bed when I'm done this. I'm going to go back and crawl in bed and go to sleep. If you allow your feelings to dictate whether or not you're going to keep your commitments, then you're going to definitely grow that much slower. But I also don't think it's about a push. I think it's about an urgency, right? So the first thing I talked about is really knowing there's the rhythm and the ebb and flow. Then you need to ask yourself, is what I'm after, is what I'm giving, is what I'm up to, is it big enough? And I can tell you, if you are an entrepreneur, chances are you have a little bit of ADD, if not a lot. And that means that unless you are a complete analyzer, you probably don't go into your thoughts in a really deep way. I'm actually going to recommend that you do, right? Like, one of the biggest joys of my day yesterday was going and doing something called Soaking with God. And I grabbed my iPhone and I have soaking music, and it's basically instrumental music with no words, and it's developed for scripture and spirit. And I went and I laid at the temple, the meditation gardens, the monastery, and I just laid and stared at the clouds and connected with God. And I did that for 45 minutes yesterday. Can I tell you how fired up I was? I mean, because what I allowed myself to do, and by the way, Tim Ferriss talks about this, the 4-hour work week. Tim Ferriss talks about the fact that, and he's actually in my mastermind, and he actually talks about the fact that he spends hours and hours and sometimes weeks just thinking about what goal he's going to go after, what goal merits, what goal deserves his full attention. Now, that's not a to-do list of 800 things to do. I've been saying this to my clients forever, but yet sometimes I'll have clients say, I've got adrenal fatigue, or I've worked too hard. And that has nothing to do with me as their coach. It has to do with the fact that they're not taking the coaching, right? They're like, even going into my event, my to-do list is one thing: rest, like have fun, rest. I have this working flex time, which means that I walk around and I story tell and I think and I look at but I really have nothing to do. Everything's done. Like, it's done. Am I making things better? Yeah, because I have inspiration moments, but I have inspiration moments because I've created space, right? Just so you know, I create space in my life on a daily basis. I don't actually, when I'm done coffee with Shanda, I actually don't come back to work until 10 a.m. So there's no appointments until 10 a.m. And I do this because, all the people around me have taught me for years to create flex and time. Now, the mindset, remember rule number 1 around the way you think, the mindset is when you're on a grind or a struggle to succeed, you think that working harder is going to get you there, but working harder is an employee mindset. An entrepreneurial mindset means you need to get intimate with one idea really well. When I wanted to find my husband, I got very intimate with the thoughts and the feelings of who I wanted him to be, what I wanted in my relationship. And I reinvent that all the time for what I want my relationship to look like now, right? When I wanted to build our house, which we're doing right now, really in like with full ocean views, I knew I could feel and I think about this daily, by the way, to help move the project forward with our developers, right? A lot of things can go wrong in building a home. There's this great saying that it always takes longer than you think, right? And I don't have that belief, and I refuse to have that belief. And I think daily about walking across the floor, and I can see the color of my whitewashed oak floors and the way they feel on my feet, like I can feel them right now. Now, visualization doesn't mean you have to force yourself into it. It actually means you just need to create the space to allow the inspiration to come in. So I don't believe, I asked Sarah Blakely, who owns Spank, she visualizes all the time. She has 4 children, and I said to her, wow, you have 4 children. She's like, yeah. She goes, every time I looked in my rearview mirror, I saw a car full of babies. And she has that now, right? And so same with when she created her company. And so I asked her, do you sit down and intensely visualize on a schedule every single day? She was like, no. She goes, not at all. It's just what I do throughout the day. And that's about creating the space. Talk about one of my visualizations. Here's my son. Come here, Zach. Come say hi. Come here, bugaboo. You're going right back? You're going out the door? You can't go out the door. Okay, come here. I want to see you when you're ready, okay? You have two choices. You can walk over here or you can stay over there, but I'd love you to walk over here. Didn't work. Anyway, chances are he's going to start talking to me. So I'll kind of wrap this up and help you with this. Make sure that you're giving enough space on a daily basis to whatever it is that you want to create. So I have a big idea and creation with what we're doing in Hardcore right now. Here he is. Come here. Come here. Come here. And I think about it on a daily basis. Okay, go get Daddy. Go get Daddy if you want, because I'm gonna finish this, and then I'll hang out with you, okay? Or do you want to come up? Do you want to come up and sit? Okay, I'll get you a banana, but will you come up here and sit with me for a second? This is like a bird's eye view of exactly how I parent. I know you want a banana, but instant gratification will never have you win the game of life. Okay, can we just talk to them for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we're talking about goals right now. And we're talking about when you create your goal and you lose momentum because you created a little bit of your goal and you lose your steam. Okay, and I'm trying to help them not lose their steam. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is you have to manage your mind. You have to know there's a rhythm and don't beat yourself up for lack of momentum. Just realize that there's a rhythm. And then the second thing you need to do, okay, you got two choices. You can wait with me and I'll get it for you, or you can go get Daddy and he can get it for you. Okay, can you hold on? Will you hold on? Will you hold on one moment? Yeah, okay. Okay, 1 second. And the second thing is you have to create enough urgency. And if you can create enough urgency, I believe that some of you guys can create urgency like that because you know what it is, or urgency has been put in your life. Like, for instance, if you have a child who's sick and you need to make money, you're going to make money, right? If you've got a house that needs a payment, you're going to figure it out, or you're not if it's not important enough to you. But if it's important enough to you, you'll do it. Know that right now, with what's happening in the economy and technology, with the middle class being wiped out, you really should do some research on that so that you know you actually have a lot of time. You have a good 8 years. I know. I'm going to get you a banana. Okay? The babies who wait are the babies who win. It's called patience. Okay? Okay. This is really sinking in. He's got urgency around the fact that he wants this banana, and he tells it to himself over and over and over again. And so he will get the banana and he will drive this shit because he tells himself that over and over and over again. So tell yourself what you want constantly, and don't tell yourself a million things that you want. And so, are you looking at the little hearts going across the screen? You guys hit some hearts and some happy faces because he loves watching them. You know, some of my clients who got pregnant, they made the most amount of money in the shortest period of time because they were afraid. So fear can actually be a great thing to drive you. So don't be afraid of fear. You can allow it to drive you. You know, Jesse Itzler, who wrote Living with a Seal, said, allow whatever emotion to drive your urgency. If it's anger, allow that anger to be self-expressed. If you've noticed when you go through a divorce or a breakup, a lot of people have this idea that they think that they're better alone because when they go through a breakup, they excel. That's not really what it is. It's just how you actually channel the energy, right? And so use emotions to channel the energy. And if your emotion doesn't feel like doing it, then you need to channel commitment. Okay, so, but if something hard happens in your life, don't allow that to take you out. Allow it to be something that you use that energy, because it's powerful energy to get you to where you want to be. So I'm going to end on that, you guys, because obviously my husband's up with my son, but this really is my time with him. So I'm going to have breakfast with him, and then I'm going to crawl back into bed and read and snooze and relax and give myself permission, because I am an entrepreneur and we get to create our own schedule. Don't forget that. You're not a slave to your business. Your business is a calling. And when it becomes a calling and you really go after it from that standpoint, you're going to find that you'll be able to overcome emotions to be able to stay committed to what it is that you dreamt of. So create the space to be able to do that. Please do that on a daily basis. Create the schedule around that and tell everybody what that schedule is. And I hope this was helpful. Sorry that we kind of got interrupted at the end, but I will see you tomorrow morning on 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda. Instagram, I will not be able to bring you guys in because what I'm going to do is have a really close friend of mine, Isabel, who owns Beyond Diet. She's been able to create over a $25 million a year business, working from home, homeschooling her 2 children, and doing it with spirit, doing it with God. So we're going to talk about God, money, scripture, all of that. So really a lot about scripture and money, and how the scripture talks about money and how she uses that as a roadmap to be able to grow her business. So hope that helps. So definitely tune in on Facebook tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. We'll be on for just 20 minutes, and Isabel and I will be rapping together here, sharing what we know. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.